Hello everyone, this is my spoiler review that I promised for a film that y'all heard of. Trust me, you've heard of it. I promised at the end of my non-spoiler review for The Suicide Squad by James Gunn that is out in theaters currently as you will see this review, and on HBO Max as you will see this review. You can go watch that one over the original masterpiece. Suicide Squad! Fuck you, lighting and reflection. This is the Suicide Squad, or should I not the? It's so hard to say, like, the Suicide Squad. I'm so used to both now. Fuck you for making the title that confusing. Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers. This is Suicide Squad 2016, starring Margot Robbie, Jared Leto, Will Smith, Joel Kinnaman, and Viola Davis, amongst others, Cara Delevingne. I said I was going to do a spoiler review, and this one's going to be fairly quick. I think when I'm reviewing older movies, it's hard to think of what to talk about, and I'm just going to go through a few notes that I have to the side here. I have a note about editing, the characters, the music, the pacing of the movie, and the story. So, if I go over those 5 subjects, I should be able to get through the basics of the film and what I think of it. Okay, so to go back on a plot before I deal with that. What I've loved about building up to this film, this is like early 2016, like beginning of 2016. The trailers are excellent. The concept is fun. The cast is crazy. It's people you knew. Even at the time I didn't watch, I think this was the year I watched Wolf of Wall Street for the first time. So I saw Margot Robbie and then I was like, holy shit, she's hot. You know what I mean? You get what I mean? You see it in... but then I was like, she's also an amazing actress, and I think that was a great choice for Harley Quinn. I was like, I like Will Smith a lot. I was seeing Jai Courtney in a few things. I think I saw the Good Day to Die Hard movie that year as well. I thought it was shit, but I remember seeing it. Viola Davis was on the rise. The new Joker looked interesting. The trailers were energetic and had Bohemian Rhapsody. Tons of action. Flashy colors. It looked like it'd be comedic and crazy and constantly moving at a crazy fucking pace. It just looked like a fun movie. Looked kind of like a cross between Guardians of the Galaxy and like Batman Begins. It looked like those two films were like hit together and you would get the Suicide Squad. Not the. I'm gonna have to get rid of the anytime I say it unless I'm referring to the new one. Suicide Squad sadly comes out, and I remember seeing it in theaters even. I would have been 5 years younger? Was I 13? I was either 13 or 14. I'm gonna say I'm 13. I was 13. And god damn it, did it not live up to shit, much of anything. I even remember being in the theaters going like to my dad, asking him, was that just not that good, or was like a little boring? He was like, yeah, it was not that good. We both left the theater like feeling weirded out, like we didn't get much out of it. I remember seeing it at the smaller AMC near me, AMC East Chase. Not that seeing it in IMAX or Dolby would have made a big difference. When I'm younger, I didn't really think about that much until 2017-18 when I started getting into film way more. From 2013 to 2016, it was like that small build-up, and then it was like a huge spike. And at the time, I didn't even say I knew what made a good and great movie. It was kind of just whatever worked for me. So I was so simple on films back then. But I didn't even like this one back then. I thought it was pretty bad. Then I saw it a second time with a friend who came over, and it was out already on Blu-ray. I didn't pick up the Blu-ray till like 2018. I think it was like $3-4 on Black Friday, so I got it really cheap to complete my DCU collection at the time, as I've continued to get all of them as they come out. And I just did not like the film at all. I thought it was a fucking piece of shit. Simply after just a few months, and around that time I was 14, and I could just tell, like, there was nothing good about it, really. Its comedy was lacking. Its story was lacking. Its characters had nothing. And back then, the editing to me wasn't that bad because I didn't really think about that stuff. I just thought of like the logical stuff, the characters, the acting, all that, you know? But there's a lot more into play here, and that's what we'll talk about in notes. That's what we're going to talk about right now. So I'm going to start with the characters first. I guess I can go through this cover and tell you exactly what doesn't work with them, each for all. Let's start with Deadshot at the bottom right here. Deadshot doesn't work. Simply not because Will Smith's performance is bad. Will Smith is okay in this film. He adds a few moments of charisma and likability to some elements. He has the most relatable story of anyone probably, is that he has a daughter and he does care for her. Even if he is this guy making money and he's an intense fucking badass hitman who's kind of an awful person and a dickhead, but he's there under a logical sentence to be the most relatable character, at least for most of the movie, as you would assume. The problem with Deadshot is he's just not developed past the point that we know he has a daughter and we know that he's a hitman. He's thrown into the scenario, barely developed. And if you're not going to develop a character, you need to expand on him or give him something to do. None of these characters feel like they have much to do. You can watch Deadshot shoot goo, goblin, whatever the fuck those creatures are. I wish they were on the back here so I could show you. I might edit in an image in the video right here. If I do, then here it is. And the reason that doesn't work is it's just the same shit over and over again. All the characters can do that. What doesn't work about Harley Quinn? Harley Quinn and Jared Leto, because I'm going to call him Jared Leto other than Joker, because I do not think that this is Joker at all. You can make the argument, say it's an interpretation of Joker, whether you like it or not. This is not Joker efficiently at all. This is not Joker. This is like the epitome of like what someone would think Joker is. They look at the comics, they go, this guy's crazy and kills people and does crazy shit, and he's got goons, and then immediately it's like Jared Leto goes, sex appeal, pimp, hot topic Joker, let's bring it in. That's what people want to see in this movie. And it's not at all what anyone wanted to see. It's not necessarily that Jared Leto's giving a bad performance, it's that the character he has created is simply not Joker, and the way that his scenes are done and how it is edited, and the laugh. I will admit the laugh is bad. All together in that, with the laugh, the editing, what happens to the film just destroys his character. This also moves Harley Quinn down a bit, because Harley Quinn, when she's not on screen with the Joker, does not have development. She is simply there to be the hot one and the comedic relief, which is not what Harley Quinn should fully be. She should have more to do. And in a scenario that they're in, Harley Quinn can kill these fucking goo monsters that walk around and have no blood and are just pointless throwaways for a movie to fit in. But when you get to the god of fucking, like, brothers with tons of magic abilities, what the fuck is Harley Quinn gonna do against that? Like, you can't imagine these characters to do anything against it. You look at this film and it feels practically pointless, full of characters. Captain Boomerang, he's another comedic relief. He's pointless. Katana's introduced like 50 minutes into the film. Doesn't go anywhere with her. El Diablo is there for an hour and a half, does nothing, and then eventually gets explanation near the end, and now he's something. Slipknot is killed off right away. Like, it's... Slipknot was shit. Like, he's said to do anything, and it does nothing. He can't fucking climb. He starts going away very slowly, gets his head blown up. It's funny when he gets his head blown up, I will not lie, but then Harley Quinn has to make it less funny by saying, now that's a killer app. What? It's like a headache. And the movie doesn't have a consistency or anything to it. It is not simply that a constructive story was built, or like a beginning, middle, and end. There is a beginning, that low point in the film where the characters talk, even if you think they're splitting off from the main construct, and then that scene ends and it's instantly finale. There's no build up to finale, then finale. It is beginning, low point, finale, and it fucking stinks. Because the first hour feels like a single movie scene. It feels like one scene. Because none of it's cut together properly. Even when the logo comes in and then fades back into the film, it's like, that felt fucking awkward. It's like genuinely like, oh wait, what? Oh wait, the film is starting. Like, we get introduced to them at a jail with music playing, and you go through a few of the characters who are in the jail. And some get quick passes, some get like longer time on screen. But once you've passed that, once you've delved into what is happening, it all comes together as pointless. You just don't see any purpose in it. And that's because they do nothing with these fucking characters the entire movie. And now the biggest point I want to bring up is the editing. The editing here is atrocious. Apparently it was edited by a trailer company.
What are you gonna do? You gonna kill me, Mr. J?
What? Oh, I'm not gonna kill you.
Why the fuck does it look like this?
The people who worked on the trailer supposedly fully put together the movie in quick cuts. That way it would just come out like fucking garbage, I guess. The film is not linear. It can go from a scene of them to Viola Davis explaining who everyone is, and then we get flashback scenes that are so flashy, headachy, and edited where it's like, what was the point of the scene? We have the scene with Deadshot and his daughter, and then it's like, and then Viola Davis will cut in and be like, but don't worry, we got him right where we wanted him. And then you just immediately see Batman fall into frame. It's like, okay, we cut far. Batman falls into frame. He has a quick fight. The daughter cries, don't kill him. And then he allows Batman to chain him up, and the fucking cops are instantly there. Then she does the exact same thing with the Harley Quinn backstory, where we cut into the Harley Quinn backstory, and she's explaining how the Joker made her this crazy fucking bitch after being a psychiatrist. There's no development to her prior to that. That's also why Harley Quinn in the DCU, if I have my biggest complaint with her as a character at all, is we never got her psychiatrist side. We never got her before that point. In Birds of Prey, she can explain her past, but it's so meddled as a joke that it's like, I don't still know much about her other than she's crazy. And that Joker made her fall in love with her by throwing her that acid as they promised each other and then became fucking psychotic. We only know she became psychotic because of that brain test thing that he did to her. What was it? I'm not gonna hurt ya. It's so bad. And flashy with the editing, like they try to make it like creepy or unique. It's not. It's a fucking headache. It's literally like watching a music video is about to build up, and as soon as he shocks the head, it's gonna cut to like, I don't know, fucking Kanye West playing Dawn dropping soon. Or now, depending on when you see this. Like, it's just so weird. And it's a constant amount of choices, and I don't think the editing is just bad on the flashy side of things. It's like how it's cut together. He like kills fucking is Common in the movie, yeah, and he kills him. Joker literally kills him after being like, "Do you want to fuck my girl?" And it's like, "No," and then she's like, "No, it'll be fine." And then he's like, "Are you having a good time at least?" And then he's like, "No, I'm not." I'm crazy. Flash, phase, zoom in, fade. Flashy lights, Harley Quinn's crazy, you hear laugh in the background, and then you just hear him go, wait, no, J, Mr. J, and he kills him. And then it instantly cuts to like the car drifting with the blue filter over it, and then they're in the car driving away, and then the Batman jumps on and chases them, and then she gets knocked out and punched in the face, the Joker escapes. It's like, it's a fucking headache. It doesn't make any sense. I genuinely had trouble keeping up with some ideas in the film because it doesn't make any sense. And I watched the theatrical cut, and I tried the extended cut. The extended cut, if anything, adds a few scenes with Amanda Waller, one little bit of Joker, and then completely nuanced jokes or pointless scenes in between that develop to fucking nothing. Literally nothing comes out of that. The action in the movie's bad because it's just poorly chopped together and edited, and it's not entertaining because they're fighting fucking goo goblins who just explode at will and have nothing of a purpose there. The villain sucks. The way they set up Joel Kinnaman, Rick Flag isn't that bad in this film. He gives an okay performance. You can generally see the fear from him. So does Viola Davis. She's great. She would always be great just because she simply can play a threatening woman. And that's it. Even if the script's shit, it has nothing for her to do other... She doesn't even actually blow up the guy's head. Joel Kinnaman fucking blows up Slipknot's head in the film. So, like, even if it's under her call, it doesn't have that tension. I will let you know, as they hint at the trailer constantly, that she can blow up the device in their skull. She is the one to blow up people's heads in the new one, and it feels directly as a threat that she's even more of a big fucking bitch. That's exactly how you feel, and you kind of feel it here, but it's so, even though she has more screen time in this one, it's so quickly glossed over that that's why you should be afraid of her. It feels like she's the setup, and you're like, when I first saw this movie in 2016, I didn't even realize that she was a bad guy. Like, I literally thought she's putting these criminals out, she promises them a deal, but she will kill them if they fuck around and go against her. Like, I got that. I was like, oh, she seems logical. Even though she has a few scary scenes and she has, like, hints of being untrustworthy, it's so not developed on that. Or the tension of that. And in the new one, it's a lot of it. And that's exactly why it works better. She gives a good performance, and Joel Kinnaman does too. There's also the scene how they introduce their relationship. Joel Kinnaman, she's like, I've had Rick Flag on my team for many years. We got that witch lady in, and he went to go retrieve her. And she goes, just like I hoped they'd fall in love. And then it cuts them being in love, and she's like, do you want to kiss me? And then Joel Kinnaman's like, and then it cuts them falling in love, and then they're sleeping together already. Like, it's instant. We don't get an explanation or any of their relationship developed. We just are supposed to take their word that Joel Kinnaman saw her. Next fucking day, they're kissing, and they're at a fancy bar, and they're falling in love. Eventually, boom, the witch's curse comes back to haunt her, and it fucks everything up. There is that cool scene when the second time Viola Davis explains everything to people, because she explains it to David Harbour and that other guy at the table, like, here's the team I need, here's where they are. If we get them together, we can form something to stop what I have going on. And then as soon as that happens, after they're supposed to shut down something, the witch does get out in the scene at the business, like the office room, where she again explains why we need the Suicide Squad here and what they're doing. And once the witch gets out and the curse is fully there, it's like, then why have it happen in the first place? And there's so much shitty writing in here that they could have explained how El Diablo could have killed her early on. They could have explained that the heart, if you stop the heart, it won't just kill the witch, it will also kill the girl. That was a big plot of it. And they stop it, the girl's fine, the witch just dies. Because they have to have that happy ending. Like, fuck no, don't do that. This isn't even the setup, like, none of these characters could go against it other than El Diablo could maybe stop her for a moment. Like, maybe hold her off for a little bit because he has a fucking actual power that can do something. And then Rick Flag could crush the heart. But that wasn't the plan anyway. It's thrown in at the last minute with all the comedic effect and the editing and the characters and the pacing is shit. As I mentioned, it's just constantly going like a headache, a low point that actually is really good. But as soon as that low point ends, we're thrown back into the scenario with no build up, and it's just like, all right, and now we're into fucking garbage land again. Like, I can't give much credit other than I'd say 4 scenes are great. Margot Robbie's great. Will Smith is pretty good. Joel Kinnaman's pretty good. Viola Davis is great. And there are a few entertaining scenes. I actually don't hate the elevator fight with Harley Quinn. And the bar scene is awesome. It's actually a really good scene between them all and some funny dialogue. I feel like Joel Kinnaman gives a solid performance in there, letting them know, like, yeah, we were kind of fucked from the beginning, but I'll let you go. And that's also El Diablo's explanation comes out, and it pushes Will Smith a little bit. And Harley Quinn's great in that scene. It's the one scene where she, like, can play off her psychiatrist-type role. Like, it's a hint at it. It's something there. And also when they try and throw Jared Leto in at the very end, and also a hint that he was fucking Harley Quinn over the entire time, that plot line is awful. They do a little bit more than the extended cut, but not enough for it to be interesting. Like, it's not like the fucking Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman. While I still think Batman v Superman, even in the Ultimate Edition, isn't a good movie at all, it at least explains some things and develops Lois and Superman a bit more. This doesn't really do much of that at all, other than add a few scenes for Joker for an explanation into the plot. It doesn't do much. Overall, this film is technically an awful film. Like, it's technically... If you didn't find anything entertaining to work for you, or the cast didn't work for you, I could see anyone giving it a 0 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10. For me, some things did work. I mentioned that the cast did work at times. I mentioned elements worked at times. I mentioned some of the scenes worked. The bar scene's great. Joel Kinnaman's good. Viola Davis is still threatening. There is a hint of an idea here that could work, but just doesn't, due to the fact that this was clearly met. It was a well-made film, maybe a little bit. Maybe like a 4 or 5 out of 10 because it's David Ayer. And he's not that great of a director, if I'm being honest, personally. I don't think he is. Not shitting on him. I like some of the things he's written and directed, but it just of recent years, like, I haven't seen him make anything good, so I'm just going to assume, like, the final product of an actual Suicide Squad that he had wouldn't have been great. I don't have that much faith. I don't think you can go from what this is, even if the editing was amazing and well done, and even if you found more of a convenient plot element in there, I still don't think you could find a way for me to give this a positive score at all, because it still just feels too dragged down. But I would give this more than what I originally did, which is a 1 out of 10. I think it's fucking shitty. But I do think there's more elements that I was misjudging. I would say I'd give it a 2.5 out of 10 now. And leave it at that. I'm sorry if this wasn't the type of spoiler review. It's just me ranting and rambling on. And I went through all the notes technically. Whether not consistently or not. But I just need to point out, just don't check out this film. I know I own the Blu-ray of it because I have all the DCU films, but just don't. There's nothing redeeming in any quality about it. Is there a commentary on here? If there is, I should listen to that one day. There's just nothing. There's no surprises. There's nothing unique. It's just a messy edited, poorly paced, awkward story with no development or care to any of the characters. And that's blamed mostly on the studio. It should be. I think David Ayer has a little bit of blame. Like, some of this clearly was his. So there are some bad stuff that is clearly his idea. But you have to blame it on the studio. You can tell they interfered because you can tell moments when it stays at a consistent rate. Like, that bar scene cannot just be good and well edited and then everything else be like shit. Like, that scene had to have been there on its own. And then other stuff was sprinkled in there where they're like, oh, edit this or give Jared Leto this to do. Oh, let's limit his role. Oh, make them more comedic. That's what people want. They love the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy. I feel like the tone David Ayer would have went for would have been darker. And it just didn't come out that way. And we got this boring film that on the back says action-packed, funny, and full of surprises. The fact that it has to say funny and full of surprises just lets me know that it was being thought as a comedy. But I don't think that David Ayer's Suicide Squad was meant to be a huge comedy. There could be funny moments, but I think he had an actual idea, something serious to build within these characters, and a film that had way more tension. And I guarantee you, a few more of these characters die in a cut of his. I would feel that way, because they did have to go back for reshoots multiple times, and in the post-production, it was just not even his at all at that point. So I think he had ideas that could have worked. But the film was given down to nothing because the studio interfered with it. And based on what we heard with Birds of Prey, and based on what we heard with this, and based on what we know about Justice League, now I got Zack Snyder's Justice League out, it seems that many of these filmmakers have not been promised what they were given. Like, oh, you have to do minimally this, but the rest of it is your freedom. It feels like the studio fucks it over by the end. And yeah, I mean, I would assume after Zack Snyder says it and we see his real cut, and it is an improvement. The Zack Snyder Justice League, I gave a 6 out of 10. I gave the original cut a 0. I think it's worse than this, even. Somehow it has no redeeming qualities to that original film. But when you judge on that level, it just shows that these filmmakers aren't lying. There probably is an Ayer cut, and there probably is a Kathy Yan cut for Birds of Prey, which I did, or I'm doing a audio commentary on. I'm going to record it in a little bit, and that's going to be an audio commentary on Birds of Prey. I don't know how the audio will be, and then at the end of that, like the last 7 or 8 minutes while the credits roll for however long they go, I will end up reviewing the movie in that. So if you want, you're getting the Suicide Squad review, which should be Thursday night, August 5th, maybe like around midnight if I can get it done, and then on August 6th, the Friday night, or actually no, Friday around noon, I'll put up around noon, the Birds of Prey commentary of me watching the movie, so you can watch the movie with me while I commentate on it. I don't commentate a ton, I try to stay quiet. Around the ending I get more talkative because I can give my thoughts on what's happening as it's been a fully developed movie. I talk enough, it is a commentary still. And then a review at the end for that one, so you can stay at the end and hear my thoughts on it if you just want to hear the thoughts. Would make plenty of sense. My eyes itchy. And then beyond that, on Saturday, once people have had more of a chance to see Suicide Squad, I hope Thursday and Friday and a bit of Saturday. Around Saturday, late at night, I'm going to try and upload my my spoiler review for the new Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad, as it's called, by James Gunn. And then Green Knight, I'm hoping to see it. We'll see when. So yeah, Suicide Squad 2016, still pretty much a piece of shit. The extended cut does not help it, no matter what you say. But, yeah, I mean, I guess I could say it's watchable. Like, you could put it on, you're not going to want to kill yourself. It's not the worst fucking experience I've ever had watching a movie. But it just has so many problems, and it's such a disappointment that it couldn't turn out the way that at least the director originally intended. Whether that be good or bad still, I am still in support of the director, no matter what it is. So, that is it for my Suicide Squad spoiler review, and I will see you, I won't see you, but I will... Guess I won't be seeing you. You will hear me in the next video, because it's a commentary. Bye!
Y'all jokers must be crazy. So that's it? What, we some kind of Suicide Squad?